Well, first off, I'd like to invite everybody, and the first thing I'd like to say is that we are recording this event, and anybody that doesn't want their likeness or the things in their environment to be recorded should either call back on the phone, turn your video off, or otherwise participate in the public meeting at the in-person meeting. If you do participate, your likeness and the environment will be recorded and be posted on our web page. And the video recording has commenced. I'll read the mission statement one more time. The mission of the Chuckanut Community Forest Park District is to ensure that the entirety of the property is protected in perpetuity and public ownership with respect to its ecological, recreational, and educational functions, and to serve the fiscal mechanisms through which the district via tax levy will pay the city of Bellingham for the Greenways Endowment Fund loan. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and per the RCW 42.30 Public Open Meetings Act, we're having a meeting here and it's open to the public. This meeting will be conducted as a hybrid meeting with both an in-person session at the meeting site 1108 11th Street, Suite 303, where people can attend in person. And Robin, you have somebody's gone down and checked the door to make sure it's unlocked. Anybody that wants to get in can get in. Great. Thank you for doing that. And then
we also have a phone number posted in case somebody locks it, but we'll check periodically.
Super. Thank you very much. I'll let the record show that at 6:02, Ed Grumbean joined us as well. So we have 4 of our 5 commissioners here, and the 5th commissioner is excused because he's in the bottom of the Grand Canyon and doesn't have a cellular connection to get to us. So I would like to take the roll call. Frank James is here. John Hymas?
Present.
John McLaughlin is excused. Hugh Beatty?
Here.
Hugh is here. And Ed Grumbein? We're all here. Great. Except for John, who's excused. I'd like to, if someone were making a motion to approve the agenda as offered or to offer changes to the agenda, I'd be open to that motion at this point in time.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
You had a chance to look at it?
Yeah.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second.
John Hymas seconds. Any further discussion? The agenda is approved. If we all vote on it, all raise your right hand if you want to approve the agenda and say yes. Yes, I see everybody's hand up.
Yes.
So we unanimously accept the agenda. Note that the agenda does have an executive session where we will not be having a public part of it to talk about legal matters, and that will happen relatively soon. We would like to have public comment at this point. So anyone from the public that would like to speak is welcome to. I see we've got Barbara and Zaccardi. If either of you would like to make a public statement, we're here to listen. And I see you're muted. If you'd like to speak, just unmute and speak up. Christopher Granis has also joined us. Christopher, if you want to make a public statement, please just let us know.
Public statement. I'm looking forward to our neighborhood meeting this following this one. In fact, it starts at 7 o'clock, which I will be giving a presentation on the history of the attempts to develop the 100-acre woods and the formation of the Chuckanut Community Forest Park District.
Right.
Then Barbara will give a presentation on, well, Barbara, you're right there. Why don't you say what you're going to do, and then Vince can say what she's going to do.
Well, I'm going to talk about an update for people about the park district and where the park district is, what's going on. Basically that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Barbara.
and And I'm gonna, if questions arise about the future, I will talk about the master plan that I got I made a printed copy of, so.
Yeah.
So I could see the maps in color and not be tied to my computer.
Well, thank all three of you for the citizen activism that's made this whole thing possible from the beginning. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for doing that additional work to provide accurate and timely information to our community partners. And if you don't want, if that is Ann behind there, sometimes the names aren't always right, but feel free to just unmute and speak up, or if you don't feel, while doing that, don't feel compelled to. You're welcome here in any way and form that you like, and just to listen is fine too. I'd like to also tell everybody that Robin Albro, our trusted secretary and stalwart member of our crew that makes a lot of things happen, is here, and that Bob Carmichael, who's been our attorney, is also here today. So introducing both of them. And in addition, our videographer is there in the public meeting space, who's also there to give us a hand in making these meetings accessible to everyone. And I want to thank you very much. Thanks for jumping in and saying hi. I'd like to go ahead and move on to the issue of our minutes from our past two meetings. We finally got those completed. Thanks for doing that, Robin, and doing the compulsive, detailed job that you do. Sometimes I think we do a little too much there, but we can talk about that sometime. But if people have had a chance to read those minutes, they are extensive. If there are any additions or corrections, now's the time to talk about that. If there aren't any, I'd consider a motion to approve adopting them as written.
I'll move approval for the minutes for the November and the January or December meetings.
All right. And it's my understanding only the people that were present at the meetings are to vote on each of them. So if you weren't there, you shouldn't vote. So maybe we should take them one at a time, Hugh. Would that be okay?
Sure.
So all
Everybody
those,
was at both of them, Frank.
oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay, then that makes it easy. Everybody gets to vote on everything. So if I guess we can do them together then too. Is there a second? Hugh's moved. Is there a second to? Yes, Ed Grumbine seconds. And then is there any further discussion about the minutes? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor of adopting the minutes as written, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. The next item is the Park Advisory Board meeting report. And John Heimish, our typical representative of that. Any reports to date?
You're muted, John.
Muted, John, you just need to unmute.
Not too much that had anything to do with us, as far as I know.
All right, thank you. The Education and PR Committee report. This is a community group, and the members of it are here with us, and have already said something. But Vince and Barbara and Christopher and I have attended some of the meetings. Ed Grumbine has attended some of the meetings. These are not official functions of the board, but they are an attempt of citizens to reach out to fellow citizens to educate them about what's gone on. I think it's already been said that they'll be meeting. I think it's 7 o'clock tonight at the Southside neighborhood meeting. And there's an intention, I think, to go on and meet at other public venues like some of the other neighborhood meetings, as well as perhaps reach out to the press some. So we really appreciate that citizen activism and support of the Park District and our goals and objectives of preserving the 100-acre wood. Yes. Nancy,
Can I just say that
please.
I think the latest draft of our text of what we want to focus on at our first meeting tonight, and then next Wednesday at the Fairhaven Neighbors meeting, and then I'm not sure what else we'll schedule after that. But I think if you guys would authorize Bob Carmichael to just review the document as a press release, then we could also send it out as a press release and ask Robin to include it in an email to our friends, you know, the group that gets notified of every meeting and all that, so that people don't have to depend on the newspaper and faulty reporting, which we've seen.
I would
I wonder if it
defer
could go-
our lead. Excuse me?
I wonder if we should put a post in the Northwest Citizen.
Oh, we could do that too, but I would like to have Bob Carmichael's imprimatur on it.
Actually, Bob, I'd like to get your opinion actually about how we would do that. This is a citizen group supporting the Park District, not an official organ of the Park District itself. What can or should we do from a legal point of view? Bob?
You're muted.
Bob, you're
I
muted.
am sorry. I don't think it raises a legal issue. I mean, it's really up to the board if it wants me to do that or not. I'd be happy to, but there's no prohibition on it and no requirement for it either.
So that sounds great. If the general sentiment is that we should do that, I'm happy to have Bob take a look at it. I don't believe it requires a motion. Barbara Zylstra, yes.
Well, what I was going to suggest is mine is all kind of as in notes, not as a finished document, written document. So what if after our presentation tonight, the three of us take a look at sharpening it up and then maybe give it to Bob to take a look at.
But Barbara, I'm referring to that last version that Frank just sent today.
What's
Because, have you seen emails from Frank that it's talking points for public meetings? It's how he titled it.
That's really, those are Barbara's notes that I just edited.
Right, they're your notes that
Yeah.
are, but they're in full sentence, they're complete sentences, you know.
Well, some of it's complete sentences, some of it isn't, some of it's, yeah. I mean, if it was going to go out as a document, I would rather do some revision to make it a document rather than as talking points. But though, yeah, Frank had asked me to send those. I didn't see, I've been busy. I just got home a few minutes ago, so I didn't have a chance to look at my emails before signing in here.
Okay,
So Barbara, all that's there is your notes kind of was bolding the lead sentence and making kind of organizing it so it's easier to read. But I think it's really, that's your work more than I didn't really add much.
Yeah.
But I think it's well, your strategy is a very good one, and I fully support it. I think it's keep it simple,
Right.
simple stuff, just the facts, just information, and I think that's a very good strategy.
And it's not always so easy because those of us who've been working on this for so long have a lot of emotional investment also in it. But my focus is really to stay just with the facts of where we are, why the Park District, what the Park District is doing right now, because there were so many misrepresentations of the Park District, I felt, in both the article and the editorial. So Anyway, that was.
Barbara, if you can find the time, I'd suggest you look at Frank's slight redrafting of your talking points. He sent that email at 8:18 this morning.
Oh, well, okay. I'll just leave here a little early, I guess, and go look at it.
All right, well,
Christopher's muted.
Oh yeah, I said that Barbara could review that while I am giving my presentation if she wants.
Well, yeah, it's fine. I'll take a look.
Hugh?
I'm curious, what is John Blethen doing? Is he riding a horse? What are you doing down there?
John, you look like you're driving in a car because you have a seatbelt on.
Parasailing.
Unmute yourself and say hello, John. Looks like he's in some strange city.
I would caution you all not to harass our guests, please. John, you're welcome here. You're welcome to speak up anytime, and you're welcome, like others, just to watch. That's fine. I would like to keep us moving because we do have an agenda. I'd like to get it done on time if we can, and we have a fair amount else that we need to accomplish today.
Frank,
We do need to.
Frank, I
yes.
have one question.
Yeah.
There was the suggestion that I send out this PR thing to the friends. Is that something the board would like me to do, or would you like to wait at this point?
I think it would be wise if we looked at it first.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a very likely thing we would want to support, but I think it's really important that it be reviewed. And I think it's important that that group finalize it and take a good look at it and make sure it's what they want. So I think that in general, that's a good idea. But I think before we can take an action, we need to review it and make sure that it's all right.
I'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Sure, or if we need a special meeting to approve it for some reason, or I think if they want to get it and use that approach and see if they like it, there's still more work to do on it, I think, but it's an excellent start. The other important new business is election of officers. So we do need to elect at this meeting a president and a clerk. And that's something that I'd like to get done tonight. It's when we're supposed to do it. So we're looking for a person to be clerk and a person to be president. There is some new blood. I don't know if we can make Ed do both those jobs, but you may want to stand forward to do one of them. Any of you that haven't been doing this stuff are welcome to. We're certainly open to all opportunities. And of course, John McLaughlin isn't here, so we could elect him to do both too.
That's
a lot of
my
options tonight.
So I think he's expressed in the past that he didn't want to do it because he didn't, yeah.
He
for
has
various
expressed that he's
reasons.
pretty busy with his work and his research.
Yeah.
So to be fair, that was a joke. Okay. We wouldn't elect anybody in abstention. Yes, Hugh?
I would like to nominate Frank James for president and John Hymas for clerk, because I don't like to change horses midstream, and I think they're doing fine work. So. How's that?
If it's the pleasure of the board, I'm willing to continue. However, I do, it might be nice to get somebody like Ed Crumbine in a leadership role, and I trust his ability to wield the gavel. So
I appreciate that comment. I just took on 2 projects, so I'm working full time, a little more than full time right now. And I'm still putting significant time into our common work here. And I don't feel I can take on another responsibility. So that would be my personal response. My commissional response would be, I'm looking forward to the commission sunsetting. Maybe before the legal date in September. And because of that expectation, I would like to see the current officers remain in that position, because I see the light at the end of the tunnel of our work, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to elect new officers when the train is coming into the station.
All right. So we have a nomination for a president and a clerk. Is there a second to those nominations?
A little discussion.
Okay, discussion. Yeah, we can discuss after the second, but we can discuss before too.
I just want to say that one of the best things about being clerk is that I'm only a few blocks away from Robin if she needs anything signed. So I'll stick with it if no one minds.
All right. So shall we have an election, gentlemen? All those in favor of the slate want to raise your right hands and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. So let it be noted that Frank James has been forced to be president yet. We've got one more duty period, and John Hymas is also being conscripted to serve as our clerk as well. Thank you for the confidence and just in reflecting briefly, thanks for all the work that you do. This is hard stuff. And thank you, the citizens, Vince, for your long service on the committee and your continuing service now, and to Barbara and Christopher for your incredible diligence and very hard work. So thank you very much. And so moving on, we actually, there is an executive session here. Is it possible to do that executive session at the end, Bob, and just do our other work first? I
Yes.
don't want to keep people waiting.
Yes, you
Great.
can move it to the end of the agenda. As chair, I'd say that's your prerogative.
Great. I would like to move that to the end because I don't want to keep people around doing nothing. I don't want to force anybody away. And so let's go ahead and the other business we have are really the monthly expenses and cash flow sheet. I trust you've all read that carefully.
Chair, Mr. Chair, you also have on the agenda after executive session, discussion of criteria for picking a grantee of the conservation easement.
Right. I was going to get these routine things out of the way first, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure you hadn't.
No,
overlooked it.
I saw that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
So these are things, if we get them out of the way, they'll be out of the way. So, and these things, again, like before, we have to not only do it now, but we have to send it in a written comment too. So 3 of us will get these things in writing after the meeting, and we'll need to affirm that we did pass these at the meeting itself in writing and return that to Robin. So the monthly expense reports. Is there a motion to approve the district payroll form for Robin Albro for 23.25 hours in December? Total gross wages of $581.25. Do I hear a motion and a second?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Beatty moves and Mr. Grumming seconds. Is there further discussion about that item? Like to vote? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
I see 4 hands. It passes unanimously of the people present. The consent agenda, the motion to approve the following payments. Payment on January 20th, an invoice 1849.82.37.7 from Robin Albo for $110 for the Zoom annual subscription, less expenses to buy annual subscription for the discount they gave rather than pay the $14.99 per month. We'll only be using it for 9 months, but it's still less expensive, and then we can cancel our account if need be. Payment of December 31st, 2022. a receipt from Robin Albro of $17.14 for mileage, adjusted to July through October due to change in IRS reimbursements, second half of 2022, for mileage in November, December. Payment 15 December 2022 invoice 01507 from Carmichael Clark for $5,687 for lead professional services, and payment January 3rd, 2023 invoice 2360-683 from the Whatcom County Administrative Service for $30 for quarter 4 payroll services. Do I hear a motion to approve those?
I move.
Okay.
Was that you, John Hymas?
Yes.
John Hymas moved. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
UBD seconds. All further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Robin is going to send that email. Frank, Ed, and John will need to respond to it to get the legal checks and balances for making sure that we actually pay those things appropriately. Coming back to the two remaining items, the first is on our agenda is executive session discussing conveyance of real property interest and assignment of the conservation easement as stated in RCW 42.30.110 sub 1 sub C. And the associated item is actually the criteria for picking a grantee to the conservation easement. As part of the public meeting, I'd like to go ahead and have that discussion about the criteria for picking a grantee for the conservation easement. I'd like to open the discussion on that, and if people have a point of view, it's time to express it. We have currently, after winnowing out over a dozen potential institutions, we have 3 remaining. We have a long-standing relationship and dialogue and discussion with Whatcom Land Trust, which we will have continued and will continue for, so far. Also, the Northwest Indian College at the Lummi Reservation has expressed interest and willingness to consider this, and Resources that runs the Restore and is both of which are not-for-profit entities and also have a long-standing interest in conservation and have what I believe are the essential ingredients that qualify them for doing this. So we have 3 viable candidates. We have worked most closely with the Land Trust, and the things that I think are important are that it has the potential to do this in perpetuity. I think all 3 of those organizations are likely to be in perpetuity. The Land Trust has many holdings and many legal responsibilities and will hold them well into the future. The North Indian College has been here long before white people came in their prior incarnations, part of the Lummi tribe, and then part of the greater Indian community in our state and region. And Resources has been here for quite a while. Maybe not the same claim to perpetuity that the others have, but that would be my brief summary of the 3 organizations and how they might qualify. There are other criterion, their ability to advocate for the property and be an active steward and to be committed to upholding a conservation easement. I believe the Land Trust is exemplary in that area, and they are actually right now going forward with additional initiatives around this idea of stewardship. It's one of the key things they're focusing on this year is to improve their stewardship on the properties that they currently have. I know that the Lummi Northwest Indian College is very interested. I know that they see it as a place where they want to become involved and do hands-on support for the property and to improve and enhance it. They're drawn to the fact that it is an area that does support the growth of salmon and the reproduction of salmon, and thereby the food for the orcas. And the salmon and the orca are both spiritually and historically very, very important to them. So I think that's um, uh, a good option. Resources has been a resource for the community for many years. Just as full disclosure, I was on their board for 5 years and president for 1 or 2 years as well. I know the organization well, and I respect and support the current leadership and their current structure. It's been a good many years since I was on board, but duly noted. I think they also have staff that have had these roles in land management in the past, in holding conservation easements and being stewards. So they have some expertise in the area as well. So I think we're extremely fortunate to have 3 well-qualified and kind of vetted organizations that are interested. I know that we're the furthest down the discussion road with the land trust, and I think we've had some very detailed discussions. And they're, I think, in earnest about wanting to be a good steward for the property. Having said all that contextual information, do other people have ideas about what criteria we should use in selecting the steward when we sunset in September? Thinking not just about the organization, but about what the criteria we might use to make that selection.
It
Well-
seems like whichever entity we decide on, they're bound contractually to do a job. So I think that's the criteria for accepting, and I think that they're all 3 qualified. So
I would add on to what John said. It appears to me they are all 3 qualified, and of course, to all of us, they're bound by the easement, whatever form it takes finally. But that doesn't speak to the experience of the different groups we've reached out to. It seems clear to me that the land trust, having managed who knows how many conservation easements all over the county, has vastly more experience in the management of easements, which primarily involves multiple visits on a schedule, a monitoring function, and then a due diligence that may result in ongoing monitoring in the future, or it may branch off into seeing something that needs to be done, and in this case, asking the city of Bellingham to do it, negotiating the details of what that may look like. None of the other groups have the experience and therefore the capacity in doing those things compared to the land trust, which is probably why we're looking at language they have suggested tonight, and we know that the city would prefer to have them take the easement over. I don't think the city's position is because they have some kind of internal connection with the land trust. They simply have seen the land trust in action, and they feel solid about their experience managing easements.
We should also disclose our connections with these institutions. So I would just disclose that I am on the Institutional Review Board at Northwest Indian College, where we review and approve research projects in this region, in the Northwest part of the nation. I also have been a volunteer at the Land Trust before at various events raising funds. So I have those conflicts, which everybody should know about and keep in mind.
Well, I could disclose, I'm a volunteer currently for the Land Trust on their stewardship committee and have been in that role for 2 years. I don't have any power, but I am engaged in the day-to-day stewardship of it. And like us, of course, it's a volunteer position. There's no remuneration.
You're muted.
I think you're muted, buddy.
I've been president, treasurer, vice president, whatever, of the People's Land Trust for many years, and was around when the Whatcom Land Trust started. And knew some of the players there and work with them, including Rand Jack, Bob Keller. And so I've done that, and I've worked with the Lummi tribe as a Vista volunteer for several years, and have good connections there and feel good about that. And resources was one of the things we did in the Happy Valley neighborhood. We started recycling, curbside recycling, and spun that off. And so I'm familiar with all of them, and I think the Wacom Land Trust would do a fine job. And if none of these local organizations pan out, I would also say that we should go with the Nature Conservancy. They've shown great lawyering over the years, and they could take care of it too.
And they do manage local properties there. They have a stewardship relation with DOT or Chuckanut Island, where they have a steward there through them. And they've got extensive holdings actually in the San Juans as well.
They are also known for trading properties if they consider one more valuable than another.
Yeah. Each of these organizations has strengths and weaknesses. And yeah, when we looked at the national organizations, and we didn't find one that jumped out as a great fit at the local level. There are 3 or 4 other organizations we could consider at the national level, but they really aren't very present locally.
I should mention, as I have in the past, just once more, remind everyone that our law firm represents the land trust on pro bono matters, obviously not on anything related to what we're talking about, but management of their property and issues that they get into with other properties. And we've done that for many years. And I am also a former board member of the Wacom Land Trust.
Is there further discussion at this point about the criteria for choosing one, or shall we move on? Hearing none, I guess I'll close that discussion. And then I think that's really all of our business other than our executive session. So I want to thank all of you for coming, for attending, for participating. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get a hold of me or our secretary for additional support. And thank you all very much. And Bob, we don't close the meeting now, but we do need to close it for our executive session. Is there and I'm not entirely sure of the procedural approach of what we do.
Right. So let me make the announcement that we'll be going into executive session as per the agenda for discussion of conveyance of real property interest, assignment of a conservation easement pursuant to RCW 423110 sub 1 sub C. We don't expect a decision coming out of executive session. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't expect that the board will be making a decision. And then the other piece is we have to estimate what time we'll be out of executive session.
Well, we should do that before 7 o'clock.
So we'll be out of executive session. You want to say at 7 o'clock?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Is 20 minutes adequate? Yeah, Ed?
I think that would be inadequate. And
Okay.
I would lobby for 7:15. And if we get done early, great. But I'm not even sure that 7:15 will work because of the details that we need to discuss.
I'm going to suggest then 7:15, and if that's not sufficient, we can come out of executive session and extend it for another leg of time.
If anybody wants to be here for the end of the meeting or for any further evolution of issues, we would be here at 7:15 and to update you on whether or not we need more time to discuss it in executive session. So having announced that we'll be back at 7:15, I guess we can then go into executive session.
So,
I
I can put people into a waiting room, or if you guys if you're not planning to come back, the people who are here, then you can just log off. But if you want to stay and be here at the end of the executive session or be brought back into the meeting, I can just put you into the waiting room. So
Okay.
I'd like to say that if a concern is getting to the South Neighborhood Association meeting, we have other things on our agenda. 3 other things that very likely will take an hour. I don't know how long they'll take, but they're on the agenda before our presentation on this, on the woods. So feel free to take as much time as you need. I don't think you'll be missing anything on our meeting.
Great.
so I'm just going to put people in waiting rooms and then you can log off also at any time if you want to.
I'm gonna leave. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Vincent. And John, you haven't said a word. That's not like you.
You're muted, John.
You're muted, so you're still not saying a word.
Ah.
He didn't say a word. This is the first meeting I've ever been in with John Bleffen where he didn't say something.
Yeah.
Because I can't read lips. So I think this is everybody now. Is that right?
Yes, there's nobody in the in-person part of the meeting. If you want Richard and I to go away, we can turn the sound off. Oh, we have to stop the recording. I will do that right now.
Time it is. But we're,
So I'd like to just announce that we have been in executive session. It is now a little bit after 7:15, and our intention is to go back into executive session because we were unable to complete our work. We would anticipate being finished by 7:45. That adequate?
yeah, we'll be out of executive session then at
So
7.
Robin, we'll need another half an hour, I think. And we'll
Okay,
come back
great.
and check in again. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Robin. It is 7:43 and we have concluded our executive session. I'd like to reopen the general meeting. And if there is any additional information for the good of the cause, let's hear it now. Otherwise, I'll hold the meeting adjourned.
I just wanted to make the note that I've already sent the email out to Frank, John Hymas, and Ed about the approval of payroll and bills. So
We'll get
that's
right
all I
back to you.
have.
Thanks for the reminder. And thanks, everybody. A great meeting, productive meeting. Excited about moving forward. Thank you. Adjourned.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Robin.